The first 7 rounds of the 2020 Formula One season have been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic, with 2 of the races downright cancelled. And Formula One is in a very tough position right now. In the absolute best case, we're going to get a drastically shortened season, and worst case, we could get no season at all. And it's now gotten so bad that all the teams have agreed to delay the massive regulation change to the 2022 season. And man, that one really hurts. I mean, the rule changes coming in 2021, they were unprecedented, had the potential to shake up the grid. I mean, I was really looking forward to those new cars, those new rule changes, seeing some better racing. I even made a video about the 2021 regulations in detail, but now with these rules postponed for another year, that one really hurts. And the FIA have said that they hope to start racing around June. They hope that Baku can be the first round of the season, but I don't really think that's going to be possible. The coronavirus isn't going away anytime soon. I think maybe they'll be able to start racing maybe late July or sometime in August, but then it will really be difficult to get, a proper season in that shortened time frame. Let's say the situation clears up and they're able to start racing again on the Hungarian Grand Prix, which is supposed to happen on the 2nd of August. So from then on, there would be another 10 races left in the season. And the only, really place that they could slot in a few races would be during the summer break. You can slot in 2, maybe 3, 3 races inside of the summer break that they're obviously, having now since they're not racing. And even if they were able to have around a dozen races this season, I think it would put a bit of an asterisk on the 2020 F1 season, if you know what I mean. Like, let's say somehow Max Verstappen is able to become world champion, and he becomes, the youngest ever Formula One world champion. People would be like, that one doesn't really count because it was a shortened season. He just got lucky. Or Hamilton equaled Michael Schumacher, and people would be like, oh no, he only has 6.5 titles. That was not the full season. So basically, people wouldn't really remember 2020 as, a proper season, and most of the teams would probably have most of their focus on 2021 because of all of the uncertainty surrounding 2020. So a super season would be, a slightly longer calendar of, let's say, 30 races rather than the 22 that were planned for 2020. And instead of being from March to December, only being 10 months, it would last around 18 months and end sometime in 2021. And the World Endurance Championship just had a super season from 2018 to 2019, and this was done so that from then on, the 24 Hours of Le Mans would be the final race of the World Endurance Championship. And I think that a super season would be a very good idea for 4 different reasons. The first is that all of the tracks will be able to host a Grand Prix, and this will avoid the tracks, losing a lot of money, which could put them into deep financial trouble. We've already seen Melbourne and Monaco that's canceled in a super season, and they would still have a place on the calendar. The second reason is that it's much easier on the team members. If we were going to try to have, like a 15, 16, 17 race season in 2020, we would have to have, 3 or 4 races in a row, which is a very, very tough logistical challenge on the teams, very tough on the team members, being away from their homes and families for that long. That is something that is often overlooked. The third reason is that it gives the teams more of an incentive to develop the cars through the season, invest, and focus on that season. If it was just 2020, if we were having 2020, if I'm a team principal, I'd rather focus on 2021 than developing for 2020, which could potentially be, a shortened, crazy, uncertain season. And lastly, it avoids having, a half-done, uncertain, unorganized season where all of the races are just crammed in and it doesn't, really feel right. While I do think that the option of a silly season is one that is viable and should be taken into consideration, it definitely will complicate things. First off, all if not most of the race dates are going to have to be changed, and this could especially be a problem on street circuits, which for the rest of the year are public roads, and they're going to have to change up the dates where, those roads are going to be closed. It could also be a problem for fans who have probably already made travel arrangements to get to the race, especially if they're flying in. It's going to be a challenge for the teams because they've already made, all of their logistical arrangements. They're going to have to plan that in a very short time period. So it definitely will complicate things by changing pretty much all of the race dates. But to be fair, this would have happened anyways if they decide to go ahead with the 2020 season, because different races, the dates will have to be changed to accommodate for other races, which will hopefully be, put back into the calendar if we start racing again. And basically, either way, the race dates are going to have to be changed anyways. Another thing that would be affected are driver contracts. I know that there are a number of drivers whose contracts are up at the end of 2020, so it may be affected with the 2020 and 2021 seasons being combined. I guess the teams would just, give them an extension until the end of that season. And another thing that would be interesting if they were to do a super season would be the McLaren Mercedes engine deal, whether when they would implement that and, how that would happen. So those are some things that they would also need to take into consideration if they went ahead with a super season. And lastly, this has never been done before in the history of F1, and knowing Formula One, the leaders are probably going to find a way to make it more complicated and difficult than it really should be. And the fans probably are going to hate it because they just about hate every change that seems to happen in Formula One. But silly season or not, let's just hope that Formula One can resume at some point before the end of 2020. And more importantly, let's hope that the world can come together to stop the spread and eventually find a cure for the coronavirus. But if you guys, are staying at home, self-quarantining or something like that, and you're really bored, I guess you can watch some of my older videos. And don't worry, I will be doing my best to get some more content out for you guys in the next few days, even though, there are no races to cover. That's kind of annoying, but I will definitely get some videos to entertain you guys while you are staying at home. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.